Hey everybody, I'm here again at the world headquarters of Unity's audio video team, and we are once again getting ready for the virtual open mic night. This will be for the October edition. We hope you'll participate. It's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. We will stream it out on Thursday evening at 7 o'clock, Thursday, October the 15th. The days are getting shorter, temperatures are getting cooler, and it's all that's combining to give you more and more time to practice your songs so you can be a part of this fun event. And as usual, we'll have a Zoom after party, and that's always a lot of fun. So whether you're going to participate or whether you're going to view, we look forward to having you. Again, it's going to be October 15th at 7 p.m. We'll be streaming that out, and get your video recordings in by the Sunday before that, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. We'll have a lot of fun. It's an amazing mix of talent and courage and creativity from all these people. So look forward to seeing you there. It's back to work right now.
Ready on camera 2. Action.
Hey everybody, I'm here again at the world headquarters of Unity's audio video team, and we are once again getting ready for the virtual open mic night. This will be for the October edition. We hope you'll participate. It's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. We will stream it out on Thursday evening at 7 o'clock, Thursday, October the 15th. The days are getting shorter, temperatures are getting cooler, and all that's combining to give you more and more time to practice your songs so you can be a part of this fun event. And as usual, we'll have a Zoom after party, and that's always a lot of fun. So whether you're going to participate or whether you're going to view, we look forward to having you. Again, it's going to be October 15th at 7 p.m. We'll be streaming that out, and get your video recordings in by the Sunday before that, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. We'll have a lot of fun. It's an amazing mix of talent and courage and creativity from all these people. So look forward to seeing you there. It's back to work right now.
Ready on camera 2. Action.
Hey everybody, I'm here again at the world headquarters of Unity's audio video team, and we are once again getting ready for the virtual open mic night. This will be for the October edition. We hope you'll participate. It's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. We will stream it out on Thursday evening at 7 o'clock, Thursday, October the 15th. The days are getting shorter, temperatures are getting cooler, and all that's combining to give you more and more time to practice your songs so you can be a part of this fun event. And as usual, we'll have a Zoom after party, and that's always a lot of fun. So whether you're going to participate or whether you're going to view, we look forward to having you. Again, it's going to be October 15th at 7 p.m. We'll be streaming that out, and get your video recordings in by the Sunday before that. And I'm looking forward to seeing that. We'll have a lot of fun. It's an amazing mix of talent and courage and creativity from all these people. So look forward to seeing you there. It's back to work right now.
Ready on camera 2. Action.
Muy buenos días, saludos y bendiciones. Oh my God. No. I'm here in the English service. We just had our service this morning at 9, our Unity of the Triangle Español. But I'm thrilled to be here once again with my beloved Rev Neusom Holmes. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good. It's about time we did a shout out to our Hispanic audience as well. So thank you for doing that. That's a good beginning.
It's great. I like I was telling you before we came into the camera, there's our Spanish-speaking audience has been expanding, and many of them come and watch the English service as well.
Yeah.
So
and it wouldn't be that unusual if you said, I can't really follow what you're doing, because I had a lot of English people say the same thing.
Oh, well, Neusom, but we're here, either Spanish or English, we're here to just share a word of truth, of empowerment, of hope. And we don't take for granted the fact that you're tuning in this morning to share some quality time with us and all of our Unity of the Triangle community for another good service.
Yeah, it would be great. Today we have our famed musicians and Mimi and Anna and the regular crew. So let's begin.
Let's go for it.
I'm gonna sing till the Spirit moves in my heart. I'm gonna sing till the Spirit moves in my heart. I'm gonna sing till the Spirit moves in my heart. I'm gonna sing till Spirit comes. I'm gonna sing till the Spirit moves in my heart. I'm gonna sing till the Spirit moves in my heart. I'm gonna sing till the Spirit moves in my heart. I'm gonna sing till the Spirit comes. I'm gonna sing till the Spirit moves in my heart. I'm gonna sing till the Spirit moves in my heart. I'm gonna sing till the Spirit moves in my heart. I'm gonna sing till the Spirit comes. Oh yes, that brought me. My God, it was great. Oh yes, that brought me. My God, it was great. Oh yes, that blessed me. My God, that is grace that will lead me home. I'm gonna pray till the Spirit moves in my heart. I'm gonna pray till the Spirit moves in my heart. I'm gonna pray till the Spirit moves in my heart. I'm gonna pray till the Spirit comes. Till the Spirit moves. Can't you feel it move? Can't you feel it move? Can't you feel it move? I'm gonna shout till the Spirit moves in my heart. I'm gonna shout till the Spirit moves in my heart. I'm gonna shout till the Spirit moves in my heart. I'm gonna shout till the Spirit comes. I'm gonna shout till the Spirit moves in my heart. I'm gonna shout till the Spirit moves in my heart. I'm gonna shout till the Spirit moves in my heart. I'm gonna shout till the Spirit comes. 'Cause I'm gonna sing until the Spirit comes.
we're so blessed with this music. I love the music here, and I love our musicians. And it just creates the perfect energy to complement a beautiful talk. So what do you have in store for us this morning?
Well, this morning I'd like to talk about who we really are, right down to the cellular level, and draw in a little bit of science and a bit of spirituality and see if we can make them work together.
Look forward to it.
Okay.
In order for us to bring peace to the world, we must bring peace to within us. So let's turn within in prayer. We shift our awareness inward to the temple of the heart and align fully with Spirit. We allow grace to gently lead us into a calm space beyond our thoughts and even beyond our awareness of our bodies. In this sacred holy space, the mind quiets and we become fully present to just this moment. We begin to embody and express the sacred gift of peace that is inherent within us and is our truest essence. This peace is impermeable to outer circumstances, chaos, and conflict. When we are fully anchored and open to the Divine Spirit, nothing can disturb our peace. Our peaceful presence blesses every name in this prayer box, every relationship, every interaction, and every situation. We also hold this peace for our country so that hearts will open and peace will prevail. In this peaceful state and in the stillness, we grow and transform. We set the intention to sustain this inner peace day by day and moment to moment. And so we let it be. Amen.
Let's begin to meditate. So we start by relaxing the body, and do that just by getting comfortable however you're sitting. Let the body begin to relax. It might be helpful to visualize warm water pouring over the top of the head, or some sense of calming that you have felt before, so that the body can get into this experience of relaxing. And let your mind pay attention to the breath. The breath should be natural. And the mind and the body begin to be in sync as we pay attention to our breath. Today we're going to do a form of inquiry, a form of meditation where we ask the question, who's having this experience? And we pay attention to the one who's experiencing. So rather than focusing outward, we're going to begin to focus inward. So we notice that we're breathing, and sometimes we have thoughts, and we have a body. We notice all these things. And now we ask the question, who's having the experience of the body, of thoughts, and of breath? See if you can feel that I that says I am. The one that says I'm experiencing the body, the breath, and the thoughts. Feel that I. And with a curious mind, fall into the heart as you ask this really profound question. What is the source of this I, or where did this I come from? The question is not so much to be answered as to be a pathway inward. So feel into I and drop into the heart. Remember, when your mind moves away, come back to this feeling state of who is having this experience? I am. Now feel into the I am and ask, where did I come from? Stay with the I thought. Ask the question, from where? What is the source, or who am I? As we move deeper and deeper into meditation, deeper into the silence and the depth of who you really are. As we look, feel into this I in silence.
This day our daily bread, you said you would supply all my needs according to your riches and I shall receive. To go from here and share this love you gave to me, to show someone who's lost and help them find their way, the way to truth and faith, so they can be free like me, free like me. Lord, we are your love. Lord, we are your peace. Lord, we are your joy this day. This
Today, I'd like to talk about some ideas I've been picking up from videos I've been watching of Dr. Bruce Lipton, who is famous for his work with genetics. And one of the things that struck me about his investigation of genetics is that he started out basically with the same assumption that many people have had, which is essentially that the body was governed by the genes. This was the story that when Watson and Crick came up with the idea of the double helix of the DNA, Crick came up with this idea that it was DNA that influences or creates RNA, and RNA creates the proteins. And this would happen in every cell. And it was a idea that was put out and published in 1958, but it was never really tested. It just became the assumption. And by 1968, it was in most of the textbooks and has been in those textbooks since. Those textbooks essentially were promoting an idea that we are controlled by our genes, even though it had never been actually proven. And one of the things that happened with Lipton is he went about investigating this, and when he did, what he found was it really isn't the genes that are in charge of our physical bodies, it's something else. Now that's pretty fascinating, really. I mean, how many of us have heard, oh, I have the gene for this, or I wonder what the gene for that is, and as though it was somehow determinate of who we would be as a body, if not as a human being, is not as a personality. And essentially his work started this way. One of the things he would do is take out the genes out of a cell, and he would take the genes out of a cell would be, if it was the controller of the cell, it would be like taking the brains out of the cell. Takes the genes out of the cell, and the cell lives for 2 months. So it obviously isn't the brains of the operation. The question then, what is controlling it? And to cut to the chase, really, one of the things that was his discovery or his realization was that it wasn't what the DNA in the middle, but essentially the skin of the cell, which was receiving information from the outside. This skin of the cell, this membrane, the brain of the cells, was on the outside, and it had interaction or input signal from the outside. That signal would come in and tell the membrane what to do, and it would then begin to trigger those reactions within the cell, those complex, many-layered activities that cause proteins to be made and to move around. It was the outside of the cell that was the brain that was telling the inside what to do. Now, there are about 1 trillion cells in the human body, which each one of them you can think of as just a total organism all by itself. And then we as a physical body become a collective of that total organism. And just as human beings have formed a collective to make a country, let's say, each cell gives up a little bit of its autonomy to a central nervous system, essentially, as we give it up to the government, to be able to harmonize and create a successful body around it. And we, as the country of 1 trillion cells, we are influenced by things that come in from the outside and our own thoughts and feelings. So if you want to take a healthy organism and make it sick, there's several ways to do it. The first would be some sort of trauma, some blow or some accident or something like that. That trauma can affect the health of the cells in the body. And the second would be toxins. You could have, instead of having a healthy environment, you could have something toxic, and that could affect the health of the cells. And the third thing is what also controls the blood chemistry of the human body, and that is to have a bad feeling and thought state. And that would produce chemicals that would pass through the body, through the bloodstream, that would be essentially telling those genes, influencing the membrane of each cell, telling those genes to react in a certain way. And one of those things one of those easy ones to study is essentially the study of stress. So stress causes certain chemicals to be released into the bloodstream. What that does is it tells the body, don't bother with health right now, be ready for fight or flight. Be ready to move and to fight, or be ready to flee, or somehow to freeze. Somehow we need to protect you. So don't bother with the general upkeep of the body. Let's do something just for a short period of time. Let's do something really dramatic, and then we can go back to normal. Well, the problem with that is that the stresses that we now encounter are very little to do with short term. They tend to be long and protracted stresses. And so the body now has to deal with this fight or flight syndrome triggered by the brain, sending chemicals into the bloodstream, which are now telling the cell not to worry about health, but to be ready to act. Consequently, we have some buildup of toxins inside our body. We have a sense of being, we put on weight. We have the conditions for the cells to react poorly, and our immune system goes down. All this because we live in stress. Now, there is another side to this. The very chemical producing agent, the mind, if it is on love, when it focuses on love, different chemicals are put out into the body. These are the same chemicals that if you put them in a petri dish with stem cells, would cause the stem cells to flourish. They would be very energetic and healthy and all of that. They would be just like a couple in love. They would glow essentially with health and vitality. So it is what we think can truly affect each and every cell in our body. And as it affects those cells in our body, so it affects the whole body, and the whole body then begins a feedback mechanism to us. And often if you start thinking depressive thoughts, I have found it to be very true, the body then begins to feel depressed, which sends a signal to the brain that he's kind of depressed. So I think depressive thoughts, and so the cycle goes. Same with stress, but also with love. So if you brought yourself to a state of love, if somehow you could snap into this place of being in the heart, rather than just simply taking the programming that's in our minds and playing it out in your physical being, if you could move to a state of love and acceptance, to a state of open-heartedness, into that state, if you can move to that state, then you set up the chemicals in your body to be turned on to make the body healthy, to make a sense of happiness and well-being, etc. And so what this study of genetics seemed to be saying was it's not the genes that control the body, it is the things on the outside, and those things can be some degree controlled. If you're in a toxic environment, you can move away. If you can take better care of your body or get some treatment for it if you have trauma. But also the very thoughts and the feelings that you have will influence the way the body feels, and the body will influence the mind, how it feels. Your experience of being a human being, essence, is not so much determined by your genetic code, rather it's by your behavior. And so I would like to talk to you about a form of behavior that could, in general, influence the whole of it without having to work on specific things. You know, inside each of us, there is a series of programs that we have picked up. Many of them we picked up when we were more or less unconscious. In the first 7 years of our lives, we have these programs in our mind that are running all the time. Sometimes they're quiet, but often they're running all the time. And they allow us to move and act without having to think about it. We only need to apply ourselves to about 5% of what we're doing consciously, because the rest is handled by this unconscious programming. This can be good if it's working well. It's not so good when it's not. And many of us are carrying around programming that was not to our highest. Perhaps our parents were fighting as we were children, or we had a sense from our mother that we're not capable of taking care of a baby, and therefore there's a lot of fear that goes on that was imprinted into us very young. And so we could work on each one of these programs if we learn how to. I think that's essentially what Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, the founders of Unity, came up with, was this idea of affirmations and denials. If you could say a denial to make some space for a new thought, if you could say, this behavior does not have any power over me, or this outcome doesn't have any power over me, then you could begin to plant a new idea, develop a new pattern, a new way of thinking, and in so doing, you create essentially the future by changing your present pattern inside your subconscious. They were really wise to work on the subconscious through prayer and meditation, through affirmation and denial, that we could change that. One of the things that they emphasized was this use of the I am, that I am X, Y, or Z. And by doing I am, you begin to change your identity, which is like the central piece of every program. Is like, this is who you are. So if you could change who you are, then you begin to change your outcomes, and you begin to live in such a way that the circumstances of your life change. You move away from trauma and from toxins, and your mind begins to think happier, better thoughts, and you become healthier. Brilliant, really. Even without the science behind it, they knew what the solution was. There's another solution that I have been extremely fond of lately, which is found by the founder by the name of Ramana Maharshi. Ramana Maharshi was an Indian saint who in the 20th century had this revelation that he's not his body or his mind, but is that, the very thing, the essence of the universe, the very spirit of it. And he had this by asking this question, who am I, as a young man, and it broke past the normal patterning of our conditioned childhood, and he broke through to see beyond that patterning to the depth of who he was. And it was his teaching that if you could stay in that awareness, all the patterning that had built up for you would be worked out by itself. You wouldn't really have to work on a daily basis saying affirmations and denials. You wouldn't have to try to change your programming. The programming would unwind as you move back toward the source, toward the one who is your true identity. In other words, if you changed your identity from being the body and the mind to being the source itself, to being love itself, or wisdom, or the divine, however you say it, if you moved your identity back to that, then all that was programmed in would begin to settle out and reprogram itself so that you would live now in a much more pleasant way without actually having to grind it out to do each and every transformation of your personality. It's a brilliant thing if it works. And the way they would teach you to do this is essentially this, is to recognize the witness inside you, identify with that, and then move it into the heart. Identify with the one, the constant one inside you, the I, which has been with you through every single experience in your life. Either it's been good or bad or indifferent. This I has been the one that has constantly been with you. When you ask the question, who's having this experience, you get your natural answer is I am. And you focus now deeply on this I am by feeling into the I am. Not thinking about it. No, actually kind of feeling into it. You feel into it. You feel into it. Who is having this? I am. And now you just feel that I am. And you sit with that feeling and you keep going into it with a curious mind as to where and who this really is. Not so much in words, but by curiosity and relaxing into it, you begin to drop into the heart. Now, it's not actually a place in your body, but you probably would feel it in your chest. So you move into this sense of I am and ask the question, where'd this come from? Or who is this? Or what is this? And essentially you move down into a quieter state of realization. Now, as we were started out with the idea of individual cells are influenced by the outside, so it is that the presence of all the totality of these cells, you, whatever this community of 1 trillion cells is, this you is influenced by the source. And when you bring your attention toward the source, you essentially deepen the clarity of the connection there, and it doesn't go through the filters of every program that you've developed over your lifetime. So you're going back to the source by asking the question, who am I? And as you go into that deeper, deeper, and bring it into the heart, then you come back to the source and you shift your identity from being body and mind to being the source itself. And this is the power of this question, that you can shift your identity from being a thing to being the source, rather than being the protein that's created. You become the information that tells the protein how to be. You cease to be the body and you become the spirit. And in so doing, you set up the conditions for the body and mind to have a much better experience. But even as it goes through its unwinding, even as it's not completely done, you're able to stay in this place where you are observing and residing in this presence as the presence. And all of that's happening around you, but it is not you. You cease to be the victim of the world you see and begin to be the source of your own experience. And in your experience can be trauma or even unhealth, and it doesn't matter because that's not who you are. But fortunately, as you hang out in there, trauma and disease begin to go away because we're now in more alignment with the divine itself. So just as the cells are not controlled by the genes, neither are we controlled by our past. And we can unfold as we need to be whole and complete human beings, where we are able to love and have all the chemicals of love floating through our system that bring us health and vitality. We can love because we are not at effect of the world around us, but we are sitting in the source that is the cause of all that has come about, including your own awakening as a spiritual being and your body awakening as a healthy being. So let's practice a little bit. Feel in this very moment. Feel in this very moment the one who's been watching, experiencing everything. So ask your question, when I went to school, when I went to work, when I came home, who was there? Who was having that experience? And you should be able to say with me, I am. And once you've felt the I am, now I want you to come back into this question more deeply. Feel into that I am. Rather than just answering I am, answer the question by feeling into it. I am. Feel the I am. And then as you drop into this I statement. I. Feel into I. Keep feeling into I. And going deeper by asking the question, who am I? Which is sort of like saying, what am I? Or where did I come from? Who am I? And feel that, and feel as it comes, you move away from the outer into the inner. And as you do this, just let yourself drop into it. Drop into it. Who am I? Who am I? Who is this I? As you do that, sit with it. You may want to keep your eyes closed, you may want to have them open, but you can feel the I. Stay with that. Stay in the heart and let the heart unravel the programming and connect you with the chemicals of love that heals the body. We are here to awaken to our true nature, our true being. As we stay in this level of awareness, we begin to set the conditions for our happiness and our health. So ask the question, who am I? And feel into it. Stay with that as much as you can today, tomorrow, and forever. Namaste.
Source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. A renewal of body, Spirit, and let us say,
Isn't that excited that we can really set ourselves in the truth of who we are, which is essentially love, and that flow of love just heal us, lift us. And of course, it's about also experience abundance in every way. And our abundance is our divine nature too. We see it all around us. And when we know about who we really are, and we really understand the laws of the universe, the perfection of the giving and receiving and being in the flow of life, we are free. We are free as well. So at this moment, I encourage you to once again state yourself or place yourself in this energy of love and abundance by most of all sending a blessing to our church and our spiritual community, because everything that is being done with the blessing of love really multiplies. And from that awareness of multiplication and expansion and wealth and abundance and enough, we affirm together, divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you for your love, and thank you for your gift. And so it is. Amen. Well, this is our time to just have the closing of our service, but the love continues for sure.
You know, I do want you to consider this possibility that if you can stay in your heart and feel only love for as much of the day as you can, your body and your mind will be much, much healthier. And we as a community, as we stay in love, if we collectively do this, we become a powerhouse, not only for each other, but for the world around us. Let's stay in love this week.
Definitely, love can move that world. Have a great one.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as Creator.
The light of God surrounds us.
I am the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
I am the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
I am the power of God.
And the presence of God watches over us.
I am the presence of God.
Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.